So let's look at some case studies. Here's a Stanford case study for a CS admin. This is a profile of a candidate who has completed a generic internship at a normal IT firm, has done all of the things that they were asked to do. They've listed that on their resume, but they don't have tangible outcomes. Here's candidate two, who has published a research paper in CS, collaborated with a university professor or a mentor from the industry, and they have addressed algorithmic bias in facial recognition systems, and they have presented those findings at a regional computer science symposium. Needless to say, Stanford picks the second candidate because they have been able to demonstrate original contribution to the field versus just passive participation in an activity. Here's a second case study for Wharton Admit. Here's a traditional candidate who is a president of a high school club, has organized many fundraisers, participated in DECA competitions, great grades, excellent business courses, and yet waitlisted. Whereas applicant B has identified a financial literacy gap in an underserved community, then took action, built a mobile app teaching basic money management to students, then deployed that app in some schools, and measured the impact of that app pre and post. So, needless to say, Wharton picked applicant B because they demonstrated entrepreneurial skills, technical skills, were able to show social impact, and the ability to execute on an idea, which is so, so very important. So, colleges don't just want grades, they want impact. And grades and test scores are at the foundation of it, but they want more. So they are looking for real world impact, they're looking for collaboration and leadership, they're looking for students who have earned recognition in their fields, and they are open to innovation and emerging fields. And all of this could be really your extracurriculars, could be a big thing that could help you stand out in on your college applications. So again, if you look at the myth of the perfect scores, again, this pie is different for different schools and they weigh differently, but the components of the pie remain the same. If you look at this is the pie of a candidate where they're looking for test scores and academics, but they're also looking for extracurriculars. And good extracurriculars can help you lock in great essay material as well as recommendations from mentors, and they can also help you provide college fit. So, why does every student today need to learn AI? Why do you think that today every student should learn AI? Because according to a report from the World Economic Forum, just in 2025, there will be 97 new million roles in AI. And these are some of the very high paying careers. So, and not all of them will require coding. So, STEM and non-STEM careers can get into AI and roles and get high-paying jobs. Moreover, why do you think is AI ethics important today to learn? Why is AI ethics important today? And it is sometimes argued that it is even more important than human ethics, because AI systems have the power to influence vast number of people. Like it can impact millions or even billions of people when deployed, ethically or unethically. Like you must have heard about stories of the Amazon recruiting model that failed, where historically they took only they took their historical data which favored male candidates. And so the system learned that maybe Amazon is a company that favors male candidates for employment, which was not true. But because that historical data was skewed, that was the algorithmic bias. Same, you have heard of Cambridge Analytica from Facebook, like there was a lot of privacy data breach. So there is a lot of need to understand not just learning AI as a skill or as a tool, but becoming responsible AI leaders of tomorrow. So let me introduce you to STEAM in AI. What is STEAM in AI? It is a mentor-led project-based program that blends AI skills, it blends ethics and design thinking to prepare students for college, careers, and the future of responsible tech leadership. It has been developed by faculty at Stanford, UC Berkeley, and MIT. And our students don't just learn coding, but they learn to build ethical, human centered AI that makes real world impact. And so, what does human centered AI mean? Which it means that we put humans at the center of what we are building. Like technology that we are building is for the people, by the people. And we understand that, we have to put ourselves in their shoes, have empathy, have ethics, look at it from all the different lenses of design thinking, and then build a solution that is fair to everyone. We offer three distinct STEAM in AI tracks, which is for middle school. Our AI Ethics Pioneer track is for middle school students. The AI Ethics Master track is for high school students and college students. And the AI Ethics Champion track is also for high school and college students. Both the Master and the Champion tracks will give your students an opportunity to work one is to one on their project with a mentor from the industry. So students walk out with a tangible AI project or AI research with coding or no coding. We have both tracks for students who want to learn and build AI with code or without code. And then they can have something tangible to show demonstrated interest. And it can be, the project can be on anything that they are interested in, whether it is health tech, fintech, sports, music, media, whatever that may be. Now, here's a unique opportunity to build that one is to one. And I'm happy to talk to you more. I'll take questions after my talk. Happy to talk to you more in details about any of the tracks. Here's a small example of a project that one of our students did and got into a CS and engineering program at Santa Clara University. She built a money laundering detection app as her final project for STEAM in AI. And this is, the details of what she learned and the basics of ML, as well as, she built, we took the Kaggle IBM data set of 7 million records, and we helped her build exactly, looking at ethical use of data collection as well as building a fraud detection model. And our students don't just learn AI skills, we are teaching them the cutting edge stuff of what AI agents and workflows look like. Here's a second example of a project that one of our students did to create a sustainable um, evergreen project to build an AI agent for recycling. And for that, they created a workflow on helping students and constituents understand based on their local city what is recyclable, local city policies, because every city, as you know, has different recycling policies. So some may consider one to be recyclable, while as other city may consider it trash. And so we help the student train the model on different city policies and help them create an agent that could answer the questions of what is recyclable and not, and gamify the system so over time users could learn and earn points and be rewarded to be responsible citizens of the community. And we have proof that this works because colleges love it. The top universities are want to see students who are doing the cutting edge work, but they are showing demonstrated interest. And we have had students go to the top UCs as well as Princeton, Cornell, Berkeley, Duke, Columbia, Georgia Tech. And one of the key differentiators about our program is that our mentors are world class in the industry, and they are people from NVIDIA, Google, Genentech. They are actual AI ML engineers from the industry. What STEAM in AI helps students do is neatly tie everything with a bow and create this as a central theme of your story. It'll give you enough to stand out in your essay material. It'll help you show demonstrated interest. You'll have a community impact project. It'll give you creative thinking and problem solving skills and demonstration. It'll help you become a responsible AI builder and researcher. It'll demonstrate interest in emerging fields like AI. You will be able to show that you not only know the skills, but you know you are building technology for social good. We also have volunteering and leadership opportunities in our AI Youth Council, which is the world's first AI council on youth. You will earn, if you are able to and do a good job, you will earn a mentor's recommendation letter, and all of this will be able to demonstrate to colleges, the top colleges of your choice, that you are the right candidate for them. And so if you're looking to, this summer, if you're looking to start something on your journey of becoming a responsible AI leader, standing out in college applications, and beyond that, learn skills that will not just help you set out in college, but also in life, then yes, come talk to us. We only have a few spots left. We have testimonials and more stuff on the website if you want to learn about us. And with that, I will stop and take questions. Here's my email, and you're welcome to talk. Any questions? Feel free to drop your questions in the chat, um, and one of us will take the questions. And there's my next presenter. Hi, Annaline.
Hi, Shilpi. That was a great presentation. So
Thank
much
you.
development in AI.
Yes, absolutely. So without further ado, I want to introduce my next guest, Annaline Dinkelmann, and she will introduce herself, and she's doing some wonderful stuff, and we would love to tell you about it. Annaline,
Thank
over
you.
to you.
Thank you very much. So I am going to share my screen and talk about the role of cryptocurrency and the new careers that is opening up on Wall Street. I used to work on Wall Street. And I left Wall Street, but I maintain my interest in Wall Street. And I currently run programs where I teach students all about Wall Street, how it works, how to invest their money and grow. So a lot of students and people are interested in cryptocurrency. And you probably hear on the news, Bitcoin is over 100,000 today. Bitcoin is 110,000. And you're thinking, perhaps I should jump in and invest. So in this presentation, you're going to learn a little bit about what it's all about. So Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is all to do with money and banking. And thanks to the internet, we have that. So I'm going to teach you a little about banking, that you can see the opportunity for your students. So banking is about making loans, investment, a store of value, and it's making payments. And that is what is changing Wall Street. So in the traditional bank, when we pay each other, we write a check or we can use our credit card, and each company have a ledger where they track the transactions. That if I pay Shilpi, it can come off my account and transfer the money to her account. So each bank have their own ledger, and this slows down the system. A transaction used to take like 14 days if I were to write a check to someone in California. Now it's down to like 3 to 5 days, depending on where the check is coming from. So banks track their payments, and this is where crypto comes in. In the traditional banking, as we know it now, each bank have their own ledger. No transactions takes place on the weekend. It goes to the Federal Reserve System. And if we don't have the Fed or there's a problem with the Fed, there is delays in the entire financial system. But crypto is a system that was developed in 2008 and 9, where we can bypass the banks and transactions can take place directly between the users of the system. So now we have two types of like payment systems. And I'm going to talk about money and then the ledger. So cryptocurrency is digital money, like Bitcoin and all the other coins that you often hear about. It only lives online. In contrast, we have fiat currency. That is the money that is issued by the central governments around the world. You can take a dollar or the money of your currency and you can pay anywhere with it. And worldwide, there are about 180 currencies. In the digital world, it's much different. This is computer generated money. So anyone with a computer can participate. So for Bitcoin and many of the other coins, you solve complex math and cryptography problems, and then you get a coin. So Bitcoin is not being used widely that you can go to the mall and pay for your groceries with Bitcoin. It's very limited. But behind it, the technology is being implemented on Wall Street. And that is where the focus is. Not on the coins itself, but on the blockchain technology. So I explained how the banks each have their own ledger. But in blockchain, think of it like a Google Doc. Everyone who has access to that Google Doc can update it. We can see each other's changes. We can all stay update real time. So the blockchain being used at the banks can bypass the Federal Reserve System. Banks can process transactions directly within their own system and with each other. So banks are currently using this to process payments. In the traditional bank, transaction fees are quite high, 5 to 10%. In the blockchain world, or with blockchain, it's much lower. In the traditional banking system, 3 days or more for a transaction to settle. But with blockchain, it can settle within minutes. And we don't realize it, but this is what's being implemented on Wall Street. Chase is a leader in this. So each bank developed their own coin, their own digital coin, like a Bitcoin, that they can process transactions 24/7. There is no exchange rate involved. So I can send money to Japan or to England today through the system with Chase, despite that it's on the weekend and the banks are closed. So only when you cash out the money, when I withdraw the money, it comes in my local currency. But while the money is within the system, there is no exchange rates. So each different company that or participant in this have their own coins, JPM coin, and that is how they pay each other. So Chase started the development in 2019, and they talk about distributed ledger technology. Because all a ledger is, it's a database of all the transactions. And Wall Street is used to that. So they also don't have an open blockchain like the crypto world. Theirs is a permissioned blockchain. So only specific people or companies have access to update the blockchain. And this worked so well that Citibank and all the other banks are starting their own developments, their own internal coins, their own internal blockchains. So this will speed up banking transactions, trade processing, moving real estate records. There's a whole lot of things that can be changed and updated. And there's lots of opportunity on Wall Street. You have to think of this not as money, but as technology. So the technology life cycle, what we've seen the past 15 years or so, is emerging. We have seen lots of scandals around Bitcoin, but we're in the growth phase right now. Wall Street is becoming involved. The regulatory landscape is changing. So last year in January, Bitcoin was actually approved to be issued as an investment product by different Wall Street players. So in your Fidelity account, you can now add crypto. And in Bitcoin world, there is also no inflation. There's a limited number of Bitcoins. So the price has gone up tremendously. Not the same for other coins, but for Bitcoin. And under the Trump administration, a lot of changes in the regulation. Previous administrations tried to kill off the crypto industry, and they use all the different regulatory bodies to threaten companies if they had blockchain clients or clients with Bitcoin assets. It is slowly but surely changing, and you hear often on the news about the different changes that the Trump administration is implementing around Bitcoin and the blockchain regulations. So for students, this is a fantastic opportunity. Many new jobs on Wall Street in AI-powered trading, automation in crypto. Central banks are issuing their own digital currency. In the future, just like you use Google Pay and Apple Pay, you might just be using US dollars on your phone to pay. So for students, there is lots of new careers. Crypto trading, crypto analysis, risk management, blockchain development. That is huge blockchain developers, and they make a lot of money. So to prepare your students, the skills that they need in the past used to be like finance and business, but now adding coding on that, much more focus on analytical skills, risk assessment, and then big career opportunities for lawyers. Because now you have to develop the regulatory framework. You have to figure out some of the crypto transactions can be automated. Is that automation working? So take your traditional finance and business degrees, but also add computer science and law. While at school, students should keep an eye out for internship and certifications, because for a lot of the crypto development, there is no 3 or 4 year degree yet. You can just do a certification. And keep an eye out for networking opportunities. That is a great way where people can meet and explore opportunities. So there are regular crypto conferences across the US. So just keep your eyes open. And then if you would like more information, our summer program is about Wall Street and investing, not specific just on crypto, but it is part of the new investing landscape. So if you have any questions, you can type it in the chat or speak out loud. And then Bob Leventhal is next.
Thank you, Annaline. Great presentation. Thank you. Welcome, Barb.
Hi, Anna. Hi, Annaline. Hi, Shilpi. Hi,
Hello.
everyone.
Welcome.
Can you see your presentation?
I can. So just let me say hello first, and then I'll explain. Hi, everyone. I'm Barb Leventhal. I am the America's extracurricular guru and the founder of Barbara Leventhal Educational Consultant. So what went on just before this and why Annaline's asking me if I can see the presentation is I lost my laptop on an airplane. So she's showing it from her laptop, but I don't have a copy of it with me. So I'm going to watch Annaline's presentation and then let's let it rip.
Yep.
So looking at the first slide, let me see the title slide again.
Yep.
So my colleagues have talked to you about the latest and greatest in their fields, but I am an educational consultant. So my goal is to provide practical strategies for parents and empower you to assist your children in exploring or creating extracurricular opportunities that will prepare them for college and for careers in AI and FinTech and everything else. Next slide. So how can we help students build the skills to thrive in such a dynamic environment? We live in such a rapidly changing world that what we need to do is to equip our students with skills. So first, the essential skill of finding what's going on. It will help you to develop and identify what your student is good at, and then help them to start to prepare for activities ahead. So first, identify the skills that they have. Next, create a vision. We need to encourage them to think beyond the immediate future and envision a broader context, not just going to college, but whatever could come after college. Next, we want to think about strategic planning, aligning their education and their extracurricular activities with these goals is crucial, because that way we can ensure that every step they take is going to be purposeful. Oh, no,
Should I go back?
Yeah, go back one. So forever watching, these are QR codes for the materials that I'm going to be speaking about. So I think probably the best way for you to get these is to take a quick picture of this slide so that you can use the QR codes after the presentation is over, and you'll have them at home.
Barb, I can send this out to all the registrants.
But they can just, I mean, it's easy to
Yeah,
take a quick.
they can do that as well. And yeah.
Okay, Annaline, next slide. Everyone have it? Okay. So this is what I call my ready blueprint. And this is how I help students make their applications pop in that holistic review. So starting with the R for recognize. Start with the student's spark, those interests, those passions, those talents, and then craft a vision that's as dazzling as a shooting star. Then examine the school's curriculum, really dive into the curriculum like you're going on a treasure hunt, and then plot out the perfect classes and the enrichments offered at your school. Next, the A is align. So align the community's resources with your students' interests and goals. Then the D for design and ready stands for design or map out a multi-year game plan. And I say, use summers as your secret weapon, because you have 3 or 4 summers. And the trick is to start with, let's say an 8th grader going into 9th grade can take an introductory course at a college. Doesn't even have to be for college credit, but just to get their feet wet and see what it feels like to do a class at a university. In 10th grade, they can take a class from a high school class, a college course for high school students at a college campus, and they can take it for credit, and that credit can actually be sent to a college. So that's the next level of expertise. When they're in 11th grade, they can do some kind of an internship, a hands-on practical experience, or it could be a studio experience or a lab experience. So in that way, you're designing that multi-year roadmap. You're using the summers to create depth so that the colleges can actually see the students' interest in a particular subject and the depth of field in that subject. And then finally, you are the megaphone for your students' dreams. So make sure that everyone knows your students' goals and their vision. Annaline, okay, got it. Okay, so create the vision. We want you to create a long-term goal that's exciting and ambitious, and the goal should be written action-based. So you're really looking to talk about what you'd like to accomplish. I'd like to discover, I'd like to create, I'd like to find, I'd like to implement. It doesn't say I want to be, right? Be is not an action verb. So we're looking for action words that are going to describe what you'd like to accomplish. This goal should extend beyond college. It should be something exciting and motivating. And you're going to use the SMART goals. So S, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant to the major, and then time-based. Next slide. So I say that creating goals is really important because it builds identity and purpose for students. Specific interests help students discover their values and often gives them a lot of motivation for things that they might not have taken on otherwise. Another reason to really come up with a set of goals starting as early as possible is because depth in interests and ambitious intellectual goals are rewarded not only in college applications, but in scholarships. So that's another reason. And then finally, of course, it improves your long-term success because exploring interests leads to better major choices, leads to better career choices, along with developing valuable skills along the way. So what you're looking at, what are your goals? This is one of my onboarding tools. It's part of my onboarding packet. I do it with all my students when I first meet them, and you have it in your packet. So what I ask the kids is to look at these 50 items and decide if they agree, somewhat agree, or disagree with each of the goals. And then once they've done that, they go over to the next sheet, which is a list of the goals by category. And I ask the students to take everything that they wrote, agree or somewhat agree, copy and paste it into this goals sheet. And parents, if you're here too, working with your student, don't tell them where you think each goal should go. Let them do it themselves, because sometimes the same goal for one student could be placed in music, for another student it could be placed in money. So it's really important to see where the kids put each of the goals, where students place them. And then when it's done and the sheet is all finished, then I have a wonderful way to begin a conversation with a 14 or 15-year-old, something that really makes sense, where they can talk about what they were interested in. We get to look at when I look at the sheet, I see lots of trends. So a lot of times I'll see that kids who are athletic very often are adventurous. And you can see that when you see what they picked. So it gives me a way to start the conversation. Gee, I see you've been involved in a lot of sports. What sport are you involved in? The student might say, I'm an equestrian. You must be a little bit adventurous. I see that you put down that you'd like to climb the Himalayas. So it really gives me a way to start the conversation with kids who wouldn't be able to sit down at a first meeting and say to a stranger, much less an adult, like, these are my goals. So it gets us started and it gets us acquainted and it warms things up, but it's a great way to give your student direction right from the start. Oops. Okay. So in terms of empowering students for finance, whether you're empowering them for finance and AI careers or any other career, the truth is you're going to do the same three things. The first thing is you're going to leverage transferable skills. Annaline talked about this too. But the transferable skills are always the same: critical thinking, communication, and problem solving. Whether you're in finance, whether you're in art, whether you're in music, whether you're in banking, whether you're in AI, those are the skills that human beings need to make the world work. So that's the first thing. The second thing is build technical competencies. Yes, certainly online courses, financial modeling, data analysis, certifications, those are all great in AI and finance careers, but guess what? No matter what career you're going to go to, even as a college planner, I need to have technical competencies too. Things that I wasn't expecting that I would need to learn, now I need to know. So students in all interest areas need to build technical competencies, and some will be more techie than others, but even artists have online tools that they can use. And then the third one is relevant experiences. So you can explore finance and AI relevant experiences, but you can do internships for anything that your student is interested in. You can be involved in the school community and whatever they're offering at school in terms of your interest. Or you can do what I call a signature project. A signature project activity for me is one that's the student's own initiative, and it's something that I develop with all of my students. So a soundbite, when you're a guest, when I get famous and I become a guest on a TV show, Jimmy Fallon or the Today Show, they don't have you sitting on the couch and then the interview starts. They have some little tidbit that they say, like, here's Barbara Leventhal, America's extracurricular guru. And then it's like that little soundbite is something that people latch onto and they identify with me. Everybody in ICA, the counseling group, they know that that's kind of my thing. That's my jam, helping kids create these really wild and individual projects. So admission officers spend less than 10 minutes on each application. So it's essential to give them a powerful soundbite that they can identify with each applicant. And the more that the AI's evaluation matches the student's vision of himself, the better the outcome. So the instructions for creating this are in your packet. And then here's an example of a soundbite. So you can look at the first one. I'm just going to do this one and then move on. I apply discipline from hockey to balance leadership at Taft, excel in economics, research, and the education of CEOs, and serve as president of the Jewish Students Organization and Taft's Financial Society, managing its $65,000 fund while pursuing my passion for finance and business. So this soundbite of 40 words meets all the criteria in the formula. And when I look at this, I see so much more than the 40 words. I can tell from looking this that my student is involved in sports and that he's a leader at his school. I can tell that he's great at managing his time. I can tell that he had the intellect and the motivation to do an outside research project. He said the education of CEOs. So all of those things are found in these simple little sound bites, which you can sit down and create as a student or a parent working with your student. And I always put them at the top of the student's resume. Okay, next slide. I'd like to introduce you to one of my favorite students. This is Matthew. I met Matthew when he was in 8th grade, just getting ready to start high school. And he told me that he wanted to be a lawyer like his parents and that he wanted to play football in high school and college. So we created a project called Boca Buckets, and we had a hurricane in Boca and he had to clean up after the hurricane, and that's where the idea came from. So we got a bucket and there were like 25 things in the bucket that Matthew used to clean up after the hurricane, and he gave them away to people in need. But the cool thing was Matthew also, remember, he wanted to be a football player, and he was nominated to be one of the top 23 in our county. I live in Palm Beach County, Florida, so he lives not too far away. And ESPN came to the school to take video of Matthew because he was one of the nominees. And it was the football coach who said to ESPN, hey, you should ask this kid about his project. It's really cool. So if you go online and you find Boca Buckets, you can look up Matthew on ESPN and you will see that his entire football interview, he's talking about his project, which I think is pretty cool. And at the dinner, the top 23, they actually created a special award category for Matthew as the first one to ever have a football player who had such an amazing community service project. Next slide. Okay, so every application, every college application, that Common App, it's going to tell a story. And the center of the story is what I talked to you about. It's that goal, it's that passion, it's that talent, it's that vision that you're going to develop for the student, that theme, that thing that says, I've got a student who wants to find a cure for breast cancer by natural means and going on safaris to Africa to find the herbs, okay, whatever the central passion is. But from that central passion, the next thing is self-awareness. And students who fare the best in the application world are students who are self-aware, who are intentional, who are good storytellers. Those are the kids that really stand out. They're kids that have initiative. You're talking about work, activities, community engagement, and accomplishments. It's not the activities that matter, it's the accomplishments within the activities that make students stand out. Next, when admission officers are talking about impact, they're talking about the level of recognition. So let me explain that. Leadership, continuity, contribution, those are all things that matter. But in the admission world, the level of recognition, they're talking about kids that are involved in competitions. So if you're in doing things at the school level, that's the local level. If you get a little higher, you're on the regional level. Where we're really starting to pick up steam is kids that are doing things on the state level. So for example, probably a lot of kids are in FBLA or in DECA. They've probably competed on local, state, regional, and maybe some of them even national level. The highest level, international, that's where you get the most juice in admissions. That's what they're talking about when they're talking about impact. The level of recognition, meaning state, national, international. Then character and personal skills. Hold on, I'm still on this slide. So character and personal skills, the colleges are building a community. So of course they want people of good character, and they want people who have great personal skills so that they can interact as a community and bring people together. The other thing is they get that from the letters of recommendation that the teachers write. Of course, they're concerned about intellectual curiosity. After all, that is what college is about. And how they determine that is from the essays the students write, these research papers that a lot of students are doing scholarly research, unique, what I call a signature project activity, and the kinds of summer classes that I alluded to in the beginning of my presentation. All of those things tell the story. And then the academics they get from your report card from your school, and then your college application shows your GPA, your test scores. It has the letters of rec and your intended major. Okay, next slide. So this is what I call, it's a simple activity. It's called What's Your Story? Just give me 1 second for a quick drink of water. Okay, so What's Your Story is an activity that is designed to help you understand what kinds of stories you might include on your application. This little activity and this story, it will not appear anywhere on your application. Rather, it's a guide to show you the information that you should include. Next slide. Okay, so Kaylee's parents are absolutely convinced that her project pushed their daughter's application to University of Miami through to admission. She did a series of 10 podcasts about the recent crypto scandals and her takeaway from each one. And the Dean of Admissions at the University of Miami wrote, "I'm impressed with your success, launching a podcast and helping your peers avoid the pitfalls of crypto in the crypto world." It's not the only time that I've ever had parents call me or contact me and tell me that it was clear that the project pushed the kid's application from, like everyone else, over the line to admit. It's one example after another. So let's go on to the next slide. So if you're going to help your student, these are some of the questions that you really want to focus on to promote growth. But what's the secret to getting in? The secret to getting in is to show that your goals align with that college's mission and that you will make the best use of what the college offers. Next slide. So this is my friend Harrison. And when I met him, he was in his freshman year of high school, and he was a very fine student and very driven and very hardworking. I think he came to me because he wanted to get an A on a term paper. And honestly, he rewrote the term paper with my help 9 times because he wanted it to be perfect. So that kind of driven student. So he and his buddy were already doing a really nice project they called Fillet for Friends. So they would go fishing on the weekends to blow off steam. Then they would clean the fish, freeze dry it, and bring it to the local food bank. And he actually had a receipt from the food bank for each time he did it. So I could quantify his donation. I could count up how many pounds of fish he had donated. And with that, that gives you the impact, because if you know the number of pounds of fish, you can divide that by the number of portions in a pound and then say that that many people who came to the food bank were able to have high quality protein meals of fish because of these 2 students in their project, which in and of itself was a spectacular achievement. But Harrison was not your average bear. He was not ready to settle. And I had this crazy idea, because when I came to Florida as a kid, I lived in New Jersey, my dad would be in fishing tournaments. So I said, why don't we write to the fishing tournaments and see if those guys would give us their catch? And sure enough, they said yes. And they were so impressed by Harrison and his idea that they contacted the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission. And then they contacted all the magazines that deal with fishing and wildlife. And he was interviewed by many of them. And so was his partner, Mac. So Fillet for Friends was the name of the project, and he attended Stanford University. So the question is, do you have what it takes to get in? Again, every application should tell a story that represents your student's unique passion, talent, initiative, and impact. In terms of academics, can you handle the workload in college? Do you ask critical questions and take on challenges beyond what's assigned to you? Do you have a positive influence on others? Is your character, are you determined and trustworthy and resilient? Can you collaborate and share ideas and follow or lead gracefully? These are the kinds of things that you should start thinking about right now. And then finally, last slide. If you want to give your team a game-changing edge in college admission, I can help you develop a signature project activity that will grab the admission director's attention and garner raving fans in your local community. Remember, it was the football coach who told ESPN that Matthew had a great project. You know, the fishing commission, it wasn't me, the fishing commission called the tournaments, called the Wildlife Society that got Harrison so much attention. So you do a great project and that news gets around. So if you are interested and you'd like to work on a project with me, here's the QR code. You can scan it and that's how you get in touch with me. Last slide. Here's my email address and my information, and that's it. Any questions? Since there's not a large audience, you can actually just turn on your microphones, turn on your cameras, and speak to all of us.
Thank you, Barb. Great presentation. So yes, Barb, Annaline, and me, all three of us are here. Any questions you have, please feel free to ask. Thank you,
Don't be
Kimberly.
shy.
Thanks, Chris. Yes, I know it's a Saturday morning, and we appreciate morning, afternoon. It's a Saturday for most part of the world, and we appreciate you taking the time to join us. Um, so yeah, while you have us here, feel free to ask us difficult questions about anything, about the college admissions process, about the program, about where AI is headed, where FinTech is headed, um, how
So for those of
extracurriculars.
you
Yeah.
who are in the room, you came for a specific reason. So turn on your cameras, turn on your mics, and let's chat. Don't be scared. We don't bite.
Well, thanks for all the comments in the chat. It's the first time I'm looking at them because I was busy with my own slides and then driving the slides for Bob. So thank you very much for everyone that was here. I hope you all learned something because crypto is not about Bitcoin, it's about the technology. So find those technology companies and you will make money.
Yes, and who doesn't want to do that, right?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, with that, wrapping it up, AI is here to stay. And right now, AI is still can be your ticket to stand out, not just to learn AI skills for college, but beyond that, for careers. It also makes you look good, like extracurricular projects that are meaningful, that have a social impact element to it. Like as Barb shared, as Annaline shared, all of these projects really help you stand out, and also prepare you for like internships in college, because now you can actually show that you have done meaningful, valuable work. And so that's going to take you far. So like all the experts have shared already, use every summer for your student meaningfully, and a great project, an internship, or taking an extra course for credit or non-credit can be valuable. But pairing the self-learning or the coursework and the certification with an actual hands-on project, at the end of the day, really makes a difference, as many of people in the industry will tell you. Um, and at this age, we our counselors, sometimes school counselors, for example, sometimes tell students that, oh, if you're not good at math or you're not good at coding, some of these careers are not for you. But that's not the case. We have another, oh, Annaline's class helped my niece so much, and I have so much follow on to inquire about. We are in a storm and power outage in the DC area. Oh my goodness. Best wishes to you, and I we hope that you all stay safe. Um, and yes, anything else, Barb, Annaline, you want to add?
No, thank you very much. I love when I hear that my classes have helped students. This year for me, it's so fun. I see so many of my students are graduating and they've reached out now to say, like, your class stayed with us and now we're going to Wall Street. And some of my previous students are coming now for internships, and I'm crossing my fingers they get the letter afterward with the job offer. So,
Awesome. Very cool. And Barb, I loved all the three case studies that you showed about your students. Really impressive work. They don't just call you America's extracurricular guru for nothing. She really is, folks. Like her projects and ideas of the projects are amazing. And if you want to pair that with an AI project, that is also something to think about. But yes, you can't go wrong with working with any of us, and feel free to reach out to us even after this webinar as a resource.
And
So
even more exciting, you
yes,
can work with all of us.
absolutely, yes. And we offer complimentary courses and services, so we would highly encourage you, in fact, to work. Annaline's class is a class of its own. Like we don't teach, Steam in AI doesn't teach cryptocurrency in the depth that she covers. So amazing, amazing stuff here. I'm so proud to bring these resources to our community. Thank you, Barb and Annaline, for joining, and to everyone who joined us today. And take care. Have a great weekend. Bye bye. See you
bye.
next time.
Bye.
Ladies, if you stay, we can do a quick debrief. I'll stop recording.